Hi, and welcome to Victory Astrology. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Mercury retrograde. My Victory Astrology videos are basically about giving people knowledge. They're called knowledge is power. And the more you know, the more you go. Because to me, the more you know about yourself, or the more you know about the energies that are going on around you, the better decisions that you can make. So I want to talk about Mercury retrograde because we have been in a Mercury retrograde since July 14th. Mercury retrograde has been in Leo. It started then. But actually it started a little bit before then, because before the Mercury goes retrograde, and I'll explain more what that means, there's a shadow period. So about a week before July 14th, we already started feeling the energies. I'm sure a lot of you have started feeling it. I just came from vacation and I was in an airplane and things were going a little bonkers and it was a little scary, but I'm here, so everything's okay. So basically, this is what it's all about. And again, I'm sorry for being a little late, but in retrograde fashion, I was going over and reviewing some things that had to do with my day job. So basically, I want to talk about what Mercury retrograde means, what the word retrograde means. Retrograde means to go backwards. So what that means is that from our vantage point on Earth, Mercury is appearing to go backwards in the sky. It's not literally going backwards. It just looks like it is, because from our vantage point on Earth, we're moving a little more faster. We're orbiting a little more faster around the sun. So it looks like Mercury is going backwards because Mercury is one of the closest planets. I think it is the closest planet. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not into astronomy too much, but I think it's the closest planet to Earth. So that's what the retro means. But again, it appears. So basically, why do astrologers focus on Mercury? Why is Mercury associated with communication? And again, everything is symbolism. So what we astrologers feel, because Mercury is the name of a god in mythology, the god actually with the little wings on its heels. And basically, he was the messenger god. He would go back and forth and bring messages to the other gods. So in all symbolic fashion, Mercury is related to communication. So that's why we astrologers associate the planet Mercury with communication. So hence, Mercury retrograde means that for the next few weeks, about 6 weeks, because we always include the shadow, when it comes to communications or getting from point A to point B, things are going to go a little bonkers. So that's what that means. So here's what to look forward to over the next 3 to 4 weeks. And again, this is not written in stone, but these are some things that you can watch out for, because again, the more you know, the more what you know is going on around you, the more you can make better decisions. So one of the things is you'll be very clear and sincere when it comes to communicating with others, and also listen to what people are saying to you. Because sometimes what they're saying, they don't mean to say, or it's not that they're lying, they're just, a little preoccupied themselves. So, and that's a big point with Mercury retrograde, is that people are very, very preoccupied right now. So, you be clear, they be clear. If you don't understand what somebody's saying, just ask them, can you repeat that again, please? Or, repeat it for them again. And be very patient. Don't get aggravated or, angry because you have to repeat it again. And the next thing to look out for is to make sure there isn't any confusion with communication. Again, ask, what did you mean by that? Another thing, that since we live in a world where there's a lot of electronic transactions, double check your receipts, double check when you're doing any electronic transactions through the internet, online, your bank accounts. This is a really good time to go over. And that's what retro means. It means to go back, to look back, to go over, to reflect. So please do that. And be patient and avoid being angry and anxious when things just don't go according to plan. Because it is a time of, how can I say this? Maybe you make a date with somebody and they don't show up. I mean, I'm not trying to give anybody any excuses, but maybe something really happened because of the Mercury retrograde for them, that they had to go back and check something out. So try to be patient when things just don't go, according to plan. Or, if you're trying to get somewhere on time and you're running a little late, just be patient when it comes to that. Don't get anxious, don't get angry. Just calm down, slow down, especially when it comes to driving too. If you have to get to an appointment, maybe leave a little early. I had to do a presentation last week. I made sure I had to go out to a place that basically was about probably half an hour from me, but I made sure I left like an hour and I got there on time. And just like Mercury retrograde fashion, there was some blips and some glitches, so I'm glad I got there a little early. Just give yourself extra time when it comes to traveling. This also has to do with airplanes and traveling in air and the train as well. Give yourself extra time. And improve your listening skills. Really listen. This is a time when there's a lot of spin meisters out there. A lot of people are saying, this is a tax, it's not a tax. The guy, which is so sad what happened in Colorado, he was laughing and being the Joker. He wasn't being the Joker. Just take everything that you're listening to and you hear in stride, because a lot of people are just not getting the story correctly. They're just, reacting on emotions with everything. So just make sure that you're listening and, kind of like keep in mind another point of view. So those are the usual suspects when it comes to Mercury retrograde. And you know what? We're living in a world of information overload. So again, take everything in stride. Whatever information you're getting, look it over, read things over. That's what it means to go over. Retrograde, reflect, go over, review. It is definitely not a time to push forward, to move aggressively forward. It's a time to basically relax. That's another reword. And that's what we astrologers, that's what we say. We say that, or we believe that the retrograde period is a time to do anything that has to do with the word re. So relax is a good thing. And this is summer, so it's a really good time to go on vacation, just chill and, have some fun with your family and your kids. And I want to talk a little bit about that because the retrograde that we're in, excuse me for the paper here, but I have my notes, sorry. The retrograde that we're in at this time, because each retrograde period is different depending on the sign that is traveling through, that the Mercury is, what constellation is traveling through. Again, bear with me, I'm just trying to get my thoughts here. The constellation that is traveling through is now through Leo. So every time Mercury goes retrograde, it goes through a different sign. It travels, it orbits, it goes through a different constellation. So this time is through Leo. So that being said, there are things that Leo, the sign of Leo symbolizes, that are going to be up front and center in our consciousness and our lives and the energy. So these are some of the things to look out for when it comes to this particular retrograde. Anything that has to do with creativity, because Leo represents the sign of self-expression and being yourself and creating. It also is a sign that comes to, it symbolizes having fun, thinking of new ways to play, gambling, taking risk. So look for energies around that. It's the sign of also being uninhibited. So in that case, it's also the sign of show business, which we'll talk about that in a few minutes. So in that case, since it's retrograde, since Mercury is going retrograde, revisiting in the sign of Leo, maybe it's a good time to think about, different ways of having fun. Or maybe lately you've been kind of in the doldrums or really seriously working, like me. The last month, that's all I've been doing is working on this project for my job. So now I'm having a little fun. I'm going to start enjoying the summer a bit. So that's the thing to do right now, is to, take your foot off the brakes a bit and just enjoy life for a little bit. Or for those of you who have been having too much fun and not paying attention and not getting down to your job and taking anything seriously, maybe it's a time to look back and say, what, it's time to, get down to business. Because by getting down to business, maybe then you could come up with a new idea. And again, the sign of Leo represents creating new ideas, creativity, being yourself, self-expression. Also the sign of Leo has to do with show business, and this is really funny because just recently Bruce Springsteen and Paul McCartney, they were doing a concert, and all of a sudden the sound system, everything got shut down in the middle of them singing a song, which is so Mercury retrograde. When you sing, you're communicating a message. And in Leo, is communicating a creative message. What is the energies behind the song that you're singing? Well, basically, it got shut down, which it's kind of funny, but not funny. So it got shut down because there was a curfew, and maybe they didn't go back and look over what is going on in England or London or wherever it is they were performing. I'm not sure, but they should have went over all the procedures that they had to follow, all the laws and regulations they had to follow. That way they didn't happen, and they didn't. So, c'est la vie. C'est la vie on that. So it's kind of funny. Be aware of people using their generosity, because Leo is also the sign of being generous. They're the sign that rules the heart. Each sign rules a different part of our body. They rule the heart, so they love to be generous. But when there's a retrograde, sometimes people are being generous to manipulate you into doing something you really don't want to do. So again, watch that, because especially since Mercury has to do with communicating, listen to what they're saying, and then don't react right away. Sit back. It might look good, it might sound good, but maybe underneath that is just, kind of not what it's really representing. Excuse me here. So watch out for people who are using their generosity to manipulate you. That's a big thing. And in regards to children, Leo also is the sign of being the child within. Again, going back to what I said about playing. And also your own children. For those of you who have children, maybe you've been working too hard and not paying attention to your children or your family. Go and hang out with them. Play with them. Take them to the beach. Go on a summer vacation. Be with your family. It's very important time right now. I mean, my heart and my soul goes out to the people, the victims of Colorado. Those were kids. So, hug your children, hang out with them, play with them, be with them. Be a child yourself. Learn to be a child. Learn to embrace that innocence that your children are teaching you. This is a good time for that. Let me see. So, okay. So those are a lot of the, the energies that might come to our minds, front and center. Again, astrology is not about anything making you do something. It's just all of a sudden you might encounter things that you usually don't encounter before. So like I said, all of a sudden it might be a time, this is a good time to hang out with my family, or this is a good time to go over that idea, because all of a sudden you just feel it and go with your gut. Just go with your gut. So the good thing too about Mercury retrograde, even though it's kind of frustrating, is that it is a time to slow down and relax. Again, we live in a society that, everything is, I want it done now, we got to get here, we're hustling, we're bustling. But the reason why things happen, maybe we missed that train, maybe we missed that appointment, or maybe we're not, planning carefully, is to make us go over and think back. You know what? Maybe I really didn't plan too well on that. Maybe I need to change. So that's what it's all about. So that being said, I hope you enjoyed my video. And again, my name is Victoria Tori Burgess of Victory Astrology. And please comment or post. Thank you so much for looking at this video. I hope it helped. I hope it gave you some insight as to what's going on. The retrograde is supposed, it does end, sorry about that. It does end August 7th, but again, give a little more time after August 7th, because nothing just ends cut and dry. There's a shadow period. So about a week after that, you'll start seeing that things kind of start falling into place. And then it's a good time then to move forward. So as of now, just take it easy. Take it easy and have fun. Why not? So again, this is Victoria Burgess, Victory Astrology. So take it easy and enjoy the rest of your summer. And I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.